Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with another deck tech today. Taking a little break from Brothers War for this one because something quite remarkable happened the other week when I was streaming. Some of my followers over on Twitch decided it was time I had the experience of a sub-train. And along with Sad News Bears, if I remember correctly, and Primal the Raptor, I went from virtually no subscribers up to 30 in a space for 6 minutes. If you go and watch the last video I posted on YouTube in November, on the last Friday in November I should say, you can watch me get emotional on there around about the hour-long mark. But because of that happening, Primal asked me to have a look at a special card that's one of his favourite cards, and I said, okay, I'll give it a go. And when I looked at the card, I got quite into it. And I thought, I was just going to play this on stream, but I thought, no. In recognition of the amount of gifted subs that Primal handed out to me that night, and I'm waiting for Sad News Bear to let me know which card they want me to cover, I did Primal's one for this video. So, the card itself is Thantis the Warweaver. 3 black, red and green for a 5/5 spider with vigilance and reach. Okay, not the great set of stats. However, all creatures attack each combat available. Right, that's all creatures, not just ours, everybody's creatures on the table. And then whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a +1/+1 counter on Thantis. Yeah. My challenge was to make this, well, to see how I would build this. I started off thinking about it down the spider route. Thought, okay, spider command, let's have a spider tribal deck. Spiders have got quite large defense. Well, I was going to say other things, but let's say they've got fairly large toughness, shall we? So you could probably survive all the counter attacks. Then I thought about it and went, well, that's a little bit boring. Let's try and do something where we can not so much use goad to use people, and I haven't put any goad cards in here if I remember correctly, but let's just do it so people are attacking, and if they're coming at you, they do things. So here's the deck. As usual, just run through the mana. Cinderglade, Command Tower, basically any blue, I keep saying blue first when I mean black. Black, red or green land that you can think of is in here, along with 4 forests, 4 mountains, 4 swamps, just to keep it going. Temple of the False Gods in, Urborg's in, Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth's in. Somewhere. Yep. Reliquary Tower. I did put Reliquary Tower in. I always like to check nowadays. Things keep getting bounced. And I've also, for this one, Fabled Passage, Field of the Dead, just because we may need some blockers. Now, the plan... I don't know why Thantis' picture isn't loading up over here, by the way, but you've got to love MTGO. But the plan is you want to be doing things with Thantis. So I need to make sure I get Thantis out. So we've got the usual selection of ramp. Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Sol Ring, Arcane Signet. And for a change, I put Farewell Stone in instead of going down the ramp side any further. We've got a few spells at ramp, but we'll get to them as we go through the deck list. But what I want to do is abuse this thing whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control. So that's what a lot of the cards in this deck really help with. So we're going to go through the decks, and I'll point some of them out as we go along. But we've also got a couple of cards that actually help us win as well, because it's all well and good everyone attacking us. We do need some way of winning apart from them attacking us. So let's have a look-see. So start with the 1-drops. Birds of Paradise, Ignoble Hierarch, just do the ramping. Elixir of Immortality, just so we can, you know, if everything gets shoved in our graveyard, we can shuffle it all back in with a bit of luck and gain a little bit of life. The first new one, Meekstone. Creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Luckily our spider's got vigilance, so I'm not too worried about that. But I've put it in just to slow down the beats we may get, because, you know, I want to fiddle around with people's combat and make it a little bit difficult for them. Over to the 2-drops. Agent of Shadow Thieves is one of the backgrounds. This one's quite nice because it says whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. It gains its death touch and indestructible until the end of turn, which is really nice with Thantis because it gets this ability when it's in play and you have this in play. You go and find an opponent. If no opponent has more life than that player, so basically, if you're always trying to attack the person with the highest life total, you're going to have get a +1/+1 counter on the spider. It's going to gain death touch and indestructible. So anything that blocks it is going to die. So bear that in mind. Slaughter Specialist, because, let's give people tokens and make them attack, and then we get some +1/+1 counts on here to make the specialist even bigger. It's a red deck, Dockside's in. Said enough about that. Goblin Oriflame is a new one on me, which I didn't even know existed until I was hunting around for some extra cards to put in to pump my creatures up. And yeah, attacking creatures get +1/+0. Yeah, that's pretty good for 2 mana. Thank you. Farseek to ramp. Targnar Demon Fang Null is also in for this one, just because it keeps us under the Meekstone problems. It goes back down to a 2/2. But if we can spend the mana to get the extra +1 for attacking creatures, if we got 6 power or more greater going, or we've got 4 mana floating around and keep on doubling up Targnar's power and toughness, we're going to have a really good beta here, so hence why it's here. 3 drops. This is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting. So we've got Curse of the Shallow Graves, curse some of our opponents, get some more zombies, like this plan. Hissing Miasma is a nice card, I thought, for this deck. Whenever a creature attacks you, its controller loses 1 life. Now, notice that this is attacks you. If you attacks a Planeswalker, you don't get him to lose the life. It's not been errated. This was still an uncommon in Guild Pack, so bear that in mind. But if they're coming at you, and 9 times out of 10, we haven't got that many Planeswalkers in the deck, they are going to be attacking you, so, they lose life. It's all good. Ferocity of the Wilds, attacking non-human creatures you control, get +1/+0 and have trample. I decided this was quite good fun for some of the stuff we've got in the deck. Goblin Spy Master. First strike at the beginning of each opponent's end step. That player creates a 1/1 red goblin creature token with creatures you control attack each combat if able. So we're going to make them attack with this, which is nice. I've chucked in mana cannons into here. We've got quite a few dual colour, multicoloured cards coming out in this deck, and I think it's worth having this in here just for a little bit of targeted removal. I mean, okay, we're only going to get sort of like 3 at the lightning bolt, but between recycling maybe some of the cards and having it here, I figured it's worth having in. I would only play in a 3-colour deck or above. I don't think it's that good in 2-colour decks unless you're trying to do something really special. So bear that in mind. Beast Within to remove stuff. Beastmaster's Ascension to make our creatures bigger when we're attacking. Curse of Predation. Whenever a creature attacks enchanted player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Let's make our creatures big as we go along. Here comes some of the spiders. I kept this one in though because it's reach and hexproof from blue, which I quite liked. And when it's dealt damage, you gain a life and create a 1/1 sapling token. So it gives you a few little blockers. It's nice. Briar Patch slows down people attacking you. Whenever a creature attacks you, it gets -1 until the end of turn. That's nice. Druid Repository is just so we can build up the amount of mana we have available. Domri Rad, just so we could do a little bit of fighting and hopefully at some stage hit the -7 point to do the whole double strike, trample, hexproof and haste, because once you get that going you win the game quite quickly. Marchesa's Degrees in, which is nice. You become the monarch when it enters the field, and whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses a life. So that's another variation of Hissing Miasma, which is cool. Revenge of the Ravens is the one that started me down this path though. If it attacks you or planeswalker you control, they lose 1 life, you gain 1 life. I like this one a little bit better, but the other 2 are fine. Damnation to control the board. Emberwild Captain becomes the monarch, and whenever an opponent attacks you while you're the monarch, Emberwild Captain deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. Thank you. Grand Melee. All creatures attack each combat if able, and all creatures block each combat if able. I suppose keeps the board slightly cleaner. Porphyros is in, just so we can get some damage going. Trove of Temptation is lovely, where each opponent must attack you or a planeswalker you control with at least 1 creature each combat if able. And at the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token. So, you're making them attack you, which I thought was good fun. Likewise, Wall's Toll is just in here. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, tap all lands that player controls. And if a creature an opponent controls attacks, all creatures that opponent controls attacks. It probably does make you a target. If it was just the second ability, I'd be happy. The first ability tends to make you a target in Commander, but bear that in mind. Circuitous Route, we've got a couple of guild gates in here, so we'll go and find them with this. Curious Herd, there's a lot of people playing Dockside because it's come down in price. Let's punish them a little bit by having a whole load of 3/3 tokens. Seemed like a reasonably good plan to me. And likewise, Cardwall Doomscourge. is very nice. It makes everyone attack you. Until you end next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able, which is lovely. And whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So you get to give yourself a kind of a turn-long fog, which is nice for this one. Culling Ritual just to blow everything up if it's annoying you and get some mana. Decimate, I've got into Decimate. I think I mentioned it before in a video previously, so we're still having fun with Decimate, so that's why it's here. Bear in mind, if you've got a load of big creatures in play, you can blow up your own Meek Stone, which isn't the worst plan in the world sometimes. Gruul War Chant to make our creatures a little bit bigger and give them menace, which makes them even harder to get through and block. Weak Stone, again, attacking creatures get -1, -0. We're not too worried about this. We've got enough things that pump us when we attack that losing one's not a problem. But making our opponents lose 1 is quite funny. And the pitch is just hilarious. On to the 5-drops. Loloth Spider Queen's in, just so we can get some spiders out to block things and then hopefully build up some of the loyalty back onto Lolth. Frenzied Saddle Brute. All creatures you can attack your opponents and planeswalkers your opponents control as though they had haste. So that's everybody, not just our creatures. Karlach Fury of Avernus is in as well. This is the first combat turn. You get to untap everything. They gain first strike and you get another combat, which is lovely. Court of Ear, just so we can shock or do some more damage to everything is rounded with the Monarch. Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs, creates as blockers. That's an old card now, so I'm hoping you've all seen it before. Glorious Sunrise, maybe gain the life, draw a card, add the mana, or just give our creatures +1/+1 and trample until the end of the turn. It's not the end of the world. But Unnatural Growth just does it better. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control. Now, if you get them stacked right, if you've got both of these in play, you put the Unnatural Growth on the stack first, you put the Glorious Sunrise on the stack second, they all get +1/+1 and trample, and then all their power and toughness gets doubled. It wins the game very easily. It's that 2-card combo there. Abducting Kobold. We're not really sacrificing things, but we've got a few treasures we could be doing, so it makes Kobold a little bit bigger. And Crash the Blood Raided in here. Whenever another creature dies, you may put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is that creature's power. You get a very big attacking warrior very quickly with this card. 6-drops. Harvest Souls, draw cards when things die that aren't tokens. Warmonger Hellkite. All creatures attack each combat available. It's another variation of doing it. And you can pump your attacking creatures for a fire breathing +1. Sweet Gum Recluse is going back onto my I like having spiders in this deck, but this one I kept in because it's got Cascade, and I figured having this Cascade in might help us a little bit get some of the other stuff out we might need. Vigor's in because it's stupid. If damage will be dealt to another creature you control, prevent that damage. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. You're just going to make massive creatures. And basically, even if they do kill off Vigor, it just gets cycled back into your library to be drawn again and played again and upsetting opponents again. So keep it going. Rurik Far the Unbowed attacks each turn disable, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, nubbles them for 6. This produces a lot of removal. Whoever's got the highest life total will probably be looking at killing this, but even if they kill it, they're going to take 6 from it, so it's great. Dragon Broodmother, just so we get some flying blockers. It may be that you devour some of the other creatures you don't need anymore as it comes into play. And Dragon Lair Spider is ridiculous. Now I'm hoping that this has been unbugged, because when I first picked this card up and started playing with it, they ended up with Hornet, basically flying insects with Death Touch. You end up with Hornet tokens. As far as I'm aware, the bug has been finalised on MTGO. Obviously, in real life, it's not a problem. You know what you get. But on here, it was becoming a problem, so I'm hoping they've fixed it. Proshk, the Sky Raider, occurs in just so we've got some kobolds to sack off if we need to pump all our creatures up, or pump this up. Omnath's in, Locus of Rage, so we can have the extra elementals when we do a bit of landfall. Daragaz Reincarnated, just so we've got a really big beta that keeps coming back when it gets killed off. And finally, a card you don't see that often at all, Lava Lanche. Deals X damage to target player or planeswalker, and each creature that player or that planeswalker's controller controls. Oh yes. So shoot this at your opponent's head for X is 7, 8. So they take 8, and then all of their creatures take 8 as well. Fantastic card, love it. But that's my take on Thantis. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm hoping that the person I've done the video for enjoys this as well when they see this later in when they see this week or today as you're watching this. Let me know what I've missed out below. Come down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, tell me what I've done wrong. I'm more than happy to hear it as always. Come and give me a follow over on Twitch. There's a link in the video description. If you look down below, you can click on it and it's all linked in there along with my Twitter, Rekmar Gaming. So please, come and give me a follow and I'd really appreciate it. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and whatever I've missed, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I'll catch you soon on stream. Take care. Thanks for being here. Laters.